What's going on, guys? Tony K, UGSM, Utopian Game Sales and Media, living the dream as always. Today I'm going to talk to you about 12 cards from the Double Masters set that I think we need to keep our eyes on. Real quick, let's get a couple of these things out of the way. First, if you like the channel, if you like what I'm doing, if you want to support the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. You can even say poop in the comments. I don't care. It does help the algorithm. Remember, I'm on TikTok, YouTube, the Facebook. Also, sell art on Etsy and do resale on eBay. So, growing business. Next is I want to give a quick synopsis of how I got to the list of cards I have here today. I use a lot of different factors. The biggest one's going to be price. Some of these cards today, they have a price point attached to them compared to the previous printings that I think it's hard to pass up. So yeah, that's really the biggest factor. And then the other pieces I used were data online for how much the card is played, what I've seen with the card and my experiences, what people say about these cards, things like that. So yeah, that's really the basis here. This is a strictly opinion, not a factual prediction, whatever you want to call it. This is all done for entertainment purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the single most expensive card on the list today. It's the only card you can see on the screen right now, and that is Forexian Alter. And as I pull up this card, this is a good time to remind you guys that generally I'm too lazy to do a bunch of editing, so I will go to a website, much like MTG Goldfish here, and we will just scroll up and down. Now you might see some ads, you might see some pop-ups, things like that. Bear with me. Remember, by not doing much of this editing, it's easier for me to make and release content, keeps all my costs down, everything in general, so it's pretty nice little setup. But let's get to it. Most expensive card we're going to talk about today, Forexian Alter. So I'm going to use this card first, A, because I want to get the money card out of the way. B, I think this will be a good example of how I got my information to put this list together. Again, strictly based on my opinion, but as we go through, you'll see there is some facts I used to form that opinion. So right now here today, we're looking at about $43 for this card. $43. Remember, this set came out July 8th, so we're not even a full 10 days after. Let's scroll down here, and on the right, you can see Ultimate Masters, the previous reprinting, is at $65. And then you look at Invasion, the original printing's at $85. Now, the Invasion copy, I love the art on it. I think this is really cool with the art they have here. I'd say out of all of them, my favorite would either be the borderless or the original. What's interesting here about this card, and what we're going to see about some of these, is you can actually get this card in a few different varieties from this recent set and still get out almost cheaper in all circumstances than the most recent reprinting. So for example, if you wanted that Double Masters borderless version because you love that art, you can get it for $50, still cheaper than the Ultimate Masters reprint. If you wanted a foil of the base version from Double Masters 2022, you can get that for the same price as of this video right now. That's crazy. Forexian Alter is a highly played card in a lot of EDH decks. If I do cite other formats for the reason that, if I do have other formats for the reason that I'm talking about these cards, I'll cite it. But overall, you can just assume EDH is the biggest driver in my opinion. Looking at this though, like I said, you can really swoop this up for a deal right now as compared to the other copies. That's the basis of which I'm going to do a lot of this video today. Let's go ahead, and I do apologize if the internet's a little slow. It is raining outside pretty hard, and it is messing with my connection. So there's the cards across the top. If you don't mind ignoring that, we can go through them individually. Up first, we got Grand Arbiter, Augason. So this is a card that on its own, a lot of people look at and think, ugh, not the coolest, or they think, wow, that is the coolest. I think it's based on the type of player you are. If you're a control player, you have wet dreams over this card. If you're an aggro player, you probably don't care for it too much. For 4 mana, it's a 2/3. it makes your white and blue spells one less to cast, and it makes all of your opponent's spells one more to cast. So a little bit of taxation with representation. $4 for this card. Right now, not even 10 days after the release. Let's go down. So we have the list at $13. We have Modern Masters at $14. We have the original Dissension at $16. So all of those copies are more than this. Additionally, you could even get the foil borderless etched special edition whatever cheaper than any other copy except for the one that's on the list. You're going to see a lot of examples just like this today, where you can get a new copy of this for $4. You can get a foil version of it for just a few bucks, a few pennies more. You can get the borderless foil, super duper foil etched, amazing versions. All of them are cheaper or the same price as the original printings and the previous ones. Very interesting, and it's a good reason to keep your eye on the market right now because, again, a lot of these cards are going to have this same kind of parameters around it. I mean, that's really the truth. Up next, again, I do apologize about the internet. We got a nice little storm going on outside. Connection is less than great, as you can tell. Just waiting patiently. Not embarrassing at all. Ugh. Well, up next is Ye Old Child of Alara. So, while we're waiting for that to load, I guess we're going to go to Ob Nixilis. I apologize, guys. It's a little embarrassing. There we go. So, next is Child of Alara. $243 for this copy. This is one of my favorite commanders out there. Absolutely love this card. 5 colors, 6/6, trample. When it dies, destroy all non-land permanents. They can't be regenerated. Very straightforward. I just made a TikTok video about a deck tech around it. So again, $243. So let's just say $2.50 to keep it easy. Look at those prices. Your original version from Conflux is going to run you $14. If you want the From the Vault Annihilation, it's going to run you $13. That only comes in foil. You can get the foil etched or the regular foil cheaper than these original copies. A lot of people online have talked about this card and talked about how they want to build it. Now's the time to get it, guys. And honestly, you can get a foil version of this. The logo is the only thing that's different. So it's not like you're picking this up and it's a huge difference between cards. We're just going to wait. It's a good value. Hopefully the shitty editing here won't make you guys leave because we're talking value. And again, these cards aren't going to make you a ton of money. But if they're cards you've wanted to play, cards you've seen other people play, you want to brew around, whatever, this is the time. So again, there's your price. Up next, one of my favorite demons, Ob Nixilis Unshackled. So this bad boy, 6 mana, 4/4, flying, trample, legendary creature demon. Whenever an opponent searches their library, that player sacrifices a creature and loses 10 life. That's hefty. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Ob Nixilis. This is one of those rare cards you see where it's like the first ability and the second ability are so opposite ends of each other that it balances the card out. Let's go down to the price. So the cheapest version is the one that just came out at $1.42. You can find the original printing, Magic 2015, for $5.28. You can get a foil of the Double Masters version that just came out 9 days ago for half the price of the original non-foil printing. This is only the first reprinting of this card. It is a pretty popular card, and it does have a pretty nasty ability on it. Value, guys. It's all about that value. Let's keep moving, and let's talk about a commander that I think goes under the radar a bit. This is not going to be as much of a value swing in our favor as the other cards have so far, but this is still a very popular commander. Briar, the Walking Grave. It's Golgari Voltron. With haste and its abilities to not only pump up itself, but keep its counters in whatever zone it's in, makes this one of the most unique Voltron commanders we can play. And there's plenty of equipments and cards in green and black that would make this powerful. Let's look at the other printings. Again, like I said, you're not going to get the absurd value on this one that you've seen with the other ones by dollars, although percentage-wise it is pretty close to the same. But look at this. The other three printings are all $4 or more. This is $1.25. And if you want a foil version, which if we're paying attention, this is the only foil version of the card outside of these Commander products. I don't remember if it came in foil in that set. I feel like it would tell us if it did. But a foil printing in packs. That card's going to have a little value in the long run at $4, but at $1.25, especially the foil etched, $10 is a steal. Because it's the only special foil etched version of it. So long term, if this commander becomes popular again amongst the community, that could go up. But at $1.25, guys, this is such a good card to play. I've brewed around it. I didn't keep it together probably as long as I should have. It was at a time when I was going up to a game store and playing against different people weekly. So it was kind of tough to play the same decks over and over because I wanted to get a little variety. Let's go on to Blood Forged Battle Axe. So here's our equipments, and this bad boy is at $5. 1 to cast, 2 to equip. It copies itself when the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, and it pumps that creature +2/+0. Incredibly cheap to cast, easy to equip, has an ability when it deals damage. We're all about that, and at $5, not a bad deal. When we look at the only other printing of this card, Commander 2017 is at $14. Treasure Chest is an online MTGO exclusive set. So $14 for our original printing. And as you look here, there is not a single printing from Double Masters 2022 that is more than $10 as of this video. I mean, you probably will pay $10, maybe a little bit more for the foil etched. Look at that borderless. You could get 2 borderless for the price of the original. You could get a borderless foil cheaper than the original. And that's an alternative art. Love it. Very playable card. But if we're doing just base printing of the original and base printing of this one, nothing special about it, it's about a third of the cost. Guys, we're in a recession, we're in a depression, we're in some kind of financial craziness. Even if we weren't, you cannot argue with that kind of savings. Card play is the same. Let's talk about another equipment, Conquerors Flail. And again, I apologize about the technology lagging here. I know that's a little annoying. Trust me, I'm making faces as we go along. Stay with me, guys, because I feel like I'm giving you some good info. So, Conquerors Flail, 2 to cast, 2 to equip. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. So not the equipped creature's permanent, or not the equipped creature's colors, all permanents. As long as it's equipped to a creature, your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. So very powerful, very powerful. 650. That's what we're going to call this one for a very highly played card. Conquerors Flail, 2016, and look, same story as Bloodforge, Battle Axe, same story. About a third of the price, you can get a foil or etched foil cheaper than the original base 2016 copy. That's, I mean, all these cards in this video are going to follow a similar formatting here. You can get some really good deals right now. And I understand as we're going through these cards, some of them may not be cards you need. There's more value to be had in this set. Or just buy the card until you need it down the way. Because some of these cards, I don't know if you're going to find cheaper for a while. And here's a perfect example of a card that I'm actually going to purchase without the intention of brewing right away. I'm actually purchasing to hold on to because I've wanted to brew around it before. I'm not in a spot right now where I need to, where I need it, because I don't have any decks that would run it in EDH. But that is Thrumming Stone. Remember, this is the Cold Snap artifact that gives your spells Ripple 4, so your Relentless Rats or Rat Colony, Persistent Petitioners, Dragon's Approach, I think is the red spell that like you can have as many. You cast it, and you guys can read the card. Basically, you get to show the top 4 after you cast a spell, and if there's another spell in that 4 revealed that has the same name, you play it. Scroll down. So we don't have many printings of this. What do you know? It's like I'm following some similar steps for all these cards. So Cold Snap, $39. The list, very interesting that it's at almost $50. Because those two prices, we could get 3 copies or 4 copies of the original base printing in this new set for that price. Hell, we can get 3 copies of the foil from this new set and still be cheaper than the other 2 printings. Sorry, you figure after repeating shit so many times, I'd remember what I'm saying. So, again, Thrumming Stone, it's a card I'm actually going to pick up. I'll probably pick up a couple copies and put it in my card box and come back to it down the way when I'm ready to sell or brew. Up next, if you watch the Magic the Gathering Market Watch from Heroes and Legends, you know this card is constantly on there. It's also a card that's suspect to be the one per video for the Eventide Lorwyn block, Reception in the game, yada yada. Bloom Tender. Very popular card in Commander. I was really excited when I saw that it was announced. For each color, among permanents you control, add 1 of that color. So in theory, you could get like 5 or 6 if you had Waste. It's a 1/1 elf. That's pretty awesome when you think about elves. And it only costs 2 to cast. Right now, let's say $14.50. Just to have a clean number there. $14.50. And let's look at some of the printings. Well, we've got Eventide, the original printing, at $31. We got Mystery Booster at $20. We got Secret Lair at $38. Now, those are just the non-foil versions. You can see the foil prices here. Absurd foil price around the Eventide. But wait a minute. Let's look at the Double Masters versions. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that I could get a Double Masters foil etched version of this cheaper than the original Eventide and roughly for the same price as a Mystery Booster? Crazy! Sarcastic there, but you guys get what I'm saying. You can get that Borderless for $16. Awesome value. If you're playing a multicolored deck where you need a little mana boost, this can definitely help you. One of the cards that I was most surprised to see in Double Masters was Aether Vile. Now, Aether Vile is a banger in every format that it's legal in. Modern, Legacy, EDH. So I told you guys I would cite if there was a reason, if there was more than one. Man, this internet's killing me, guys. I do apologize. But I told you guys I would tell you if there's anything more than just EDH. Aether Vile is a banger of a card. And if we get to it, maybe we should close some of these. There we go. We will see that it is sitting at $15.45. So $15.50. Kind of weird with the pricing on here. There's some above, some below. I think some people are listing this a little bit higher than it is actually selling for because this card's going to go up. Out of all these, I think this is one of the cards that will go up quickest. Huge card in every format that's legal. And when we scroll down and look at all the printings, this card has had a ton of printings. In fact, I think it is the most reprinted card of all the cards I've chosen to talk about today. Even with that, when we come down here, we see good value, and then we start going to Darksteel, 25, Iconic Masters, 23, Modern Masters, 24, the list, 20. From the Vault, Relics, 33. Pretty comparable. I actually brought this card onto the list, not necessarily because of how much value you get by buying it right now versus waiting, when comparing to the other copies, because it's only about a third of the price of those, about $8 to $10 off, depending upon where you look. The reason that I added this is because this is a widely played card, and that is an insanely cheap price. I think it's going to get up around $20, just like the rest of these copies, and I think here very, very soon, I mean, look at this, you can get a foil from the latest set for under $20. That is a steal. I know some people prefer foils, so another big part of it is you can get a foil version of this card. It taps the same as Modern Masters. It taps the same as Dark Seal. You can get a foil version of this card for $20. That, my friends, is what we like to call value. Now, you can probably see the last two cards we have on the screen here. Of course, the internet again. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain. Jesus, this is a little frustrating. Let's go ahead and talk about Warrior's Oath. While we're waiting for this to load, I have two cards left. Warrior's Oath and Dragonlord Dramoka. Warrior's Oath I only picked because you can get it for about, what was it, $25 or $30 right now, and the original copy is about $300. It simply is going to be like Imperial Recruiter, where the original copy was so old and so rare that we just couldn't get another card to match that value if it was reprint. There's no way it could hold that value because it was going to be available. But remember, with those Obeka Brute Chronologists, is that the Grixis Commander? This is a card that slots in very well, and of all the 2 casting red spells that allow you to take an extra turn, you know, not the most expensive. Let's get to the last card if it lets us get there. That is Dragonlord Dramoka. Good grief. It's embarrassing. We'll give it a few seconds here. While this is going on, let me just remind you guys, again, all these cards are cards that you can get great values on right now. They all are very playable in whatever formats they're available in. And if you're playing EDH, these are steals. Dragonlord Dramoka, for example, at $11.32. So, we'll say $11.50. 6/6, 5/7 Elder Dragon, can't be countered, flying lifelink, and your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Huge. Let's look at these other printings. Check these out. Not bad at all. So this is a little bit cheaper, right? I mean, that's a little bit cheaper. You can get the foil. And again, there's just good value to be had. Now, I don't anticipate these prices sticking around forever. I would highly recommend, as we try to make our way back over to the main page, I would highly recommend that if you guys are going to purchase some of these cards, you pull the trigger sooner than later. As we scroll down and look at the card prices, what a shocker, Imperial Seal can't hold a $300 price point once packs are being opened. Yeah, don't be fooled, guys, when there's people opening those collector boosters before release happens, and they're just getting all this value. People are more likely to post the value than the failure. Just keep that in mind. A lot of great cards we had, and you can see Forexian Alter was as high as I went on this list, but there are other cards in the set that you should keep an eye on. For example, Allure Shepard. It's a really good card. I think this is about $10 or $15 less than the original printing, but you can also get that alternative art. Smothering Tithe, that's about $10 less than the original printing. And you can get, again, alternative art. So there's value to be had. Bitter Blossom. I'm a firm believer if you can get a Bitter Blossom for around $30, doesn't matter the set, you're generally getting a good deal. Crucible World, another card that great value. I think some of the other copies are going for $40 and above, so about $10 off. So there's a lot of value to be had. I wanted to share those with you. These are some great deals to be had. I would just continue to look. I really would. I would continue to look. Check out what we have here. Check out what we're getting for prices. I mean, there was a time where Thrumming Stone was like $35, $40, and now you can get it for $10. And it's because it was reprinted. That's nice. The game's not crashing. Thank you guys so much for your patience today. Very frustrated about the internet. Very frustrated about quality here, but Won't have a ton of time the next few days to record this, and I didn't want to let this slide. Again, thank you, Tony K, UGSM, living the dream as always. We'll see you next time.